Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about manipulation after a breakup.
It's very tempting.
During the breakup, we become very desperate. And everything inside of us wants to reconnect with that person. Only the very healthiest of people can respect themselves and love themselves enough not to chase. But when you have attachment issues, if you have an anxious attachment style especially, you're going to feel very triggered and very overwhelmed with a lot of different feelings of fear and anxiety and impending doom.
Breakups can really open up a lot of those primal wounds that we have and those primal fears that we have of not surviving as a collective, of feeling disconnected from the people that are in our lives and keep us safe. And that's not even to mention that breakups can bring up a lot of past traumas that we have. You know, going through a separation like that can remind you of every other loss that you've had, as Margaret used to always say. And so they are tough. And we don't make our best decisions when we're triggered. We don't make the best decisions when we're feeling really upset. And a lot of times in a breakup, we're also sleep deprived. We're also, having a loss of appetite. So everything is out of whack and it's impacting our decision making and how we treat others, especially our ex.
Yep. So we get desperate.
Yeah.
We just are overwhelmed with desperation. I've got to reconnect with them. I've got to talk to them. You will do anything that you can think of to try and get them back. Any kind of desperate, manipulative tactic. You're not above anything, and because you feel like you're dying without them.
Right. And manipulation is a way of getting your needs met, but through deception. It's a sneaky way, basically. You're not letting that person know exactly what's going on, and they're not fully consenting to everything that you're asking for, that you're trying to get out of them. And it can involve tricking another person. It can involve a lot of different things that we're going to be talking about today. The reason we're making this video is because for a lot of you in this state, you end up doing a lot of these tactics without even realizing it. So we want to bring some light to it so that you can be more aware if you are being manipulative towards your ex in an attempt to get them back.
And I want to say, because this is something I wind up saying a lot during my calls, if you don't hear us make that suggestion in a video, I wouldn't recommend doing it. I know you guys think you're going to come up with you're going to fantasize about these grandiose plans and how they're going to go and how it's going to work out. And it very rarely goes anything like you think. For example, the person that flies to the other country and shows up at their doorstep after they've been broken up with to give me another chance, wind up saying, you better leave or I'm going to call the police.
You don't have to call me out like that, Craig.
That actually happened to one of my good friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, wow,
you know that person too.
The grand gestures, they'll get you. They will get you. So
yeah, and I've seen it before. You fly to another country, to Europe, and you show up and they say, I'm going to call the police if you don't leave.
And
it's like, what?
The biggest roller coaster of emotions, because in your mind you've invested so much into this and you've already imagined what their reaction is going to be. So when you do the thing and the reaction isn't what you wanted, it's a complete devastation, even worse than it was before.
So believe me, whatever plans and strategies or skills you think that you're gonna outsmart the stuff we say in the videos, you're gonna probably make it worse. Okay, trust me, I see it almost every single day. Somebody thinks that they've come up with this perfect plan and then it does not go well. So if we thought those things worked, we would tell you to do them. The reason that we tell you certain things or to avoid certain things is because most of the time it winds up blowing up in your face.
The first one that we want to talk about is one that I am also personally guilty of. And we just want to personalize this because we understand, okay? We have been there. We've been through our fair share of breakups too. And we know how hard it is to separate and to let your partner have the breakup. We know how hard that is.
Yes.
The first one we're going to call, but you promised. But you promised. You promised you would be there. You promised that we would get married. You promised that we would have a family together. You promised that you would never hurt me. And the list can go on and on and on. And this is one where more than likely your partner has made a lot of those promises. It's true that they've said those things to you, or they've, set those expectations and said, yes, we are going to do these things. Maybe there's even set plans. Mm-hmm. The problem with this one and why it's manipulative is because anybody can revoke consent at any time. And that is just part of the foundation of having ethical relationships. Yep. Now, you can't force anybody into anything forever.
No, and it's hard because you remember and you think back to those words, but when you say those things, it's not going to create attraction again. It's just not.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel disappointed. And it's even okay to feel deceived. If sometimes it's a week before or 2 weeks before that your partner has said, I love you and I want to be with you forever. And so it can be this sense of shock. But what's not okay is to say, because you promised, you have to stay with me.
Yep.
Okay.
People's feelings change in all different kinds of ways.
Right.
Okay, the next one. If you're using ties that you have with that person against them, for example, kids, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. If you're using your kids as a pawn to try and manipulate the other person, maybe as a way to get them to reach out to you, or using some kind of guilt with them, like, well, you don't, what about our family? You're using the kids saying, we are a family, I know that's how you feel, but you really don't want to say those things because it's not going to create attraction, okay? It's going to make them more turned off, angry, frustrated, resentful, and sometimes people use kids in a threatening way. I'm not going to let them see you. Mm-hmm. You're not going to see them anymore. You try these things, and it's just going to make the situation worse. You have to act like an adult. Don't use threatening acts with the kids, or, hurting yourself. People say they're going to hurt themselves. Mm-hmm. Don't do those things, okay? They make it worse.
Yeah, and really involving the kids, it's a way to triangulate. It's a way to bring in other people into your problems. If they're kids, it's not their responsibility to fix your relationship or fix your marriage or be the reason that you stay together. That's a lot of pressure for a kid. So, consider how your choices and how you handle the breakup affects other people. Another one that we want to mention that goes hand in hand with manipulation is guilt. So guilt is trying to purposefully make somebody feel bad or make somebody feel like they're being immoral or unjust for their decisions. It's a way of saying, well, you're not doing the right thing and you should be doing the right thing by staying with me. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of setting your own moral bar and forcing your ex to abide by that.
Yep.
And really your experience, your grief, your sadness in the breakup is yours. And it's something that you have to own. Sure, it really sucks that they broke up with you, but at that point it's no longer their responsibility to soothe you during the breakup.
Yes. Oh, that's brutal.
And sometimes we feel like it is, oh my gosh, but you made me feel this way, and you broke my heart, and we can use all of this language to try to make them feel bad. If they feel bad enough, if they see how hurt I am, then they'll take me back. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't work that way. You don't want a pity partner.
No.
You don't.
No. You don't want somebody to stay with you out of pity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna last. It's not gonna go well. There's not gonna be an attraction, a fun, playful connection anymore. It's gonna be like, I'm staying with them because I feel like I have to.
Right, and that builds up resentment too. Your partner's gonna feel, well, I forgave you 10 times and you still haven't changed anything, or I still don't feel like I want to stay in this, and they just get angrier and angrier. So be mindful of how you approach the breakup.
Okay, here's another one. Empty promises. I've changed. It's been 2 weeks, but I'm different now.
I've been enlightened.
Man, if you are saying you've changed to your ex, you're probably the first person that has not changed. Okay? Because you're trying to manipulate, and it's not going to go well. I know you get so desperate you want to say, I've changed. I'm different. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to do that anymore. And before you know it, they're saying to you, well, that's great. And I think that's going to help you in your next relationship.
And it is the knee-jerk reaction. You know, when somebody says, I'm not happy in this relationship because of these reasons, then your tendency is to say, but I can fix those reasons.
Yep.
You know, in a hopeful attempt.
Or then they'll say, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna do this thing anymore. I'm gonna be in therapy. I'm gonna stick to therapy. And then you don't get into therapy, and they come back thinking you are, but you don't, and you don't change. And then you wind up in another breakup, and it's a lot more permanent. So don't tell people you're gonna change unless you're actually doing it.
Right, and you might have the intention to. Right? You might have that intention. We all have intentions that we want to do things better, but you also have to have the follow through.
Yep.
You know? So things that can be manipulative also include things like handwritten letter. What else we got?
The clean slate message.
Yes.
Margaret used to, you've seen her face.
She would get furious.
She'd get so mad when she would hear about the clean slate message.
Let's just clear it off. All right. Easy. Just
forget
like
all the terrible things you did to me. Yeah. This message, it's all gone now. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You know, and in most cases, handwritten letters get ignored. Clean slate messages get ignored more often than anything else. And a lot of times they make the situation worse. But it's you desperately trying to get your ex to change their mind. And it typically doesn't work. You know, showing up at their house, grand gestures. I did the grand gesture, right? I thought the grand gesture would work. Trying to force somebody to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
That's manipulation in a way. It's like, well, we just have to talk about it. I felt like that. Well, we just have to talk about it.
My needs are more important than your needs.
If we just talk about it, we can fix it. Well, yeah, if they want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not ready to talk about it. But if you leave them alone, a lot of times they can get to that place.
And it can be hard to think of yourself as doing these manipulative things, but we have to look at it from the lens of, are we respecting your ex's decision the best that we possibly can? And we're not using the word manipulative to say you're a bad person. We're just saying be aware of what your behaviors are.
You have to be aware of those things in order to change them. And you haven't changed them yet, so don't say you've changed.
Right.
Actually
so,
changed.
Really focus on being able to soothe yourself. Like we said from the beginning, a lot of these behaviors come out of desperation, come out of that grief. So work on being able to soothe yourself and really work through those emotions. Deepen your support system. You know, make those connections to make sure you're okay after a breakup.
Yep. And the creative healing course will help you a lot with learning how to soothe yourself, because there's so many different types of activities and things that you're going to learn to help you with that. So something to consider. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you can do that by going to my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you need.
Just click on her name to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.